Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, I had an interesting development occur a few minutes ago. I had my l959 buggy out, and my steering felt loose. And I'm like, wait a minute, the servo's not catching it. Something's wrong here. So, I pick it up and I'm looking at it and whoops, something dropped. I lost a steering screw. So, I thought this would make a good little repair video. How to fix your steering link when you lose a screw. So, let's get to this for you guys and show you what you got to do to fix the problem. So there's two screws up front here that have to come out. Two here. These are a little bit shorter screw. In the case when you got longer screws and shorter screws, what I like to do is organize them in a row. This way I know where they came out versus where I'm working. And then you've got these four screws that have to come out. Now they're the same length as the first two screws, so I don't have to worry about mixing them up or not. This actually surprised me when this happened because I've got a lot of mileage on this buggy and I thought, wow, this is really interesting. So we must investigate. And then I thought, this is going to be a good video because this is bound to happen to one of you guys too, down the road. Also, that's not screwed in actually. Oh no, that's why it's not screwed in. So, I'll undo that one. You don't necessarily have to pull these ones out, but I'm going to anyways. Then I know they're clear and out of the way, so I got nothing obstructing me at all. Pop that up. And our culprit. This is actually going to be a little bit more involved than what I thought. This screw actually goes in from the underside, which means disconnect that and top shocks come off. Didn't look too difficult at first. Now, what else we need to take out of the way here? Let's see. Maybe we can pull the arms out. These actually go back in on the outsides. Okay. Now There's a pin here, and a pin over here. That faces that way, which means this is going to face this way. This is where it comes in handy if you have another vehicle the same, especially if you didn't take pictures. I usually take pictures, but I got another vehicle, exact same steering system, so I can take a look at what goes where here. And of course, my side that's off is where the steering servo hooks into. So this is going to go this way. Like so. Now, looks like this thing, the threads actually started to strip in it. So we're going to have to make a little change. That's on the top side. That's on the top side. That's ass backwards. This has to go upside down. That's actually opposite. Okay. So, put this back together for a minute. Grab the blast. Yeah, it has to go back together that way. That makes... Ah, okay. I got it. My bad. Duh. Alright. And then rotated the wrong direction. That's why it looked backwards. Now, our problem is our screw threads are stripped. So this is just going to fly apart again. Hey, first time this has ever happened to me, guys. You know, so don't criticize. Stuff happens. Alright, so time to break out the crazy glue. Because I have a hole here that seems to be stripping its thread, and I don't have any other replacement parts yet, I'm going to put some glue down the hole of the steering bar into the threads. And then we're going to tighten the screw back up. And while we're at it, just as a safety, we're going to go ahead and do some preventative maintenance on the other screw hole for our steering bar. And we're going to crazy glue that together. What I'm doing is just dropping some glue down the hole where the threads are, and then I put the screw back in, and this is going to make those threads on the plastic extremely strong now. So the screw won't back out. It's kind of like doing Loctite, except using crazy glue. Okay? And make sure that you still got some good movement, because it has to have free movement. Okay? There we go. Lots of free movement. So let that sit for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and put it all back together. But crazy glue can be your friend with plastic threads, that's for sure. Also, remembering how you took things apart helps a lot too, but I probably would have figured it out anyhow. I had this piece was rotated the other way, and that's what threw me off. But hey, nothing wrong with looking like a noob sometimes. And like I said, first time I lost a screw out of this buggy, and I'm like, what? You know? And so yeah, a little bit of a 2-minute repair there, and a little bit of crazy glue to make those threads grab better than brand new, and that should more than last me until I get some more replacement parts. And I know some guys are going to jump on this video when they see this and go, that's why you use alloy parts. And it's like, no, has nothing to do with it. Even alloy can strip too. But at least this is a good little fix that if you've already got some crazy glue in the house, what did it cost you? Basically a couple of drops of crazy glue and a little bit of creative thinking on that one. But that'll fix it. So we'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll reassemble this thing. Okay guys, we're back, and we're going to reassemble this steering link and show you how to put it all back together now. It's actually the opposite of ripping it apart. You put it back together. Pretty simple. But I do recommend take pictures. I have spare vehicles here that I can look at and figure it out, but not all of you do. So take pictures when you take stuff apart, and then you got a reference for putting it back together. Let's check out our little repair job. Okay, looks like our steering link is still free running. Everything's good. Let's check the screws, just to be sure that crazy glue is holding good. Oh yeah, that's wonderful. Good little cheap repair. Love crazy glue. Okay, so we need to put this little assembly back together. And take one of our pins. That one's in. And that one's in. Put our servo bar back on first. That'll help keep things in there a little bit steadier. Probably did not have to disconnect the suspension, but hey, what the heck. Okay, so that's all normal again. Now we'll get our control bar back on there. This is why you also don't reef on the screws when you tighten them, because you are going into plastic after all. So you just want to go until they stop in just a little bit of snugness, and that usually does the trick without any problem. So yeah, just go till I stop. A little bit of snugness. That's all back together. Now, we grab our plate. That's actually really good, considering how long I've had this buggy for and the mileage I've put on it. I finally actually dropped a screw out of the steering. It's just actually really good that it didn't happen while driving, because I probably would have lost that screw and been like, okay, what do I use for a screw? Because it's a special type screw. It's not like, you know, one of these, you know. It's got a whole different shape and everything to it. So you have to have the exact same screw to replace it with. And you can buy screw kits for these things too, by the way. Every part you can think of, you can buy for these buggies and trucks. And so this repair, by the way, just so you guys know, will work on the L959, the L202, the l969, l979, the Litehawk Brute, the Litehawk Blast. God, what a mouthful. And the Renegade from Propel, the Urban Renegade. I'm going to see if I can actually put these longer screws here. Oh, actually, there's no real point, is there? No, there's no real point. I'll put the longer screws back where they belong. No, actually, the longer screws all... Oh, did I put two screws where they didn't belong? Yes, I did. I don't know why they make two shorter screws for. It's like utterly retarded. It's not like there's an interference issue. But I guess they do what they do. Probably figure, well, it only has to go down so far, so okay. So the shorter screws must go right here where I'm putting this one in now. That's only the two shorter screws. Nothing would interfere with that if you went with a longer screw. So, oh well. No biggie, I guess. I'll just put them all back where they came from the factory. Works for me. Do the job right. So up front on the very tip here, you've got two long screws, and then two short screws, and then four long screws. Now these four long screws and the two long screws up front are all the exact same length. It's these two little short screws that are going to be different. So pretty easy. Oh, there we go. Now, if you were paying attention while I was putting that crazy glue in, I didn't back the screw out all the way. I only backed it out about halfway, so this way no crazy glue could make it below the rest of the threads or into the slider area where that screw has actually got no threads. It's a bigger part of the screw, which is actually your sliding area. Okay. I only put the crazy glue about halfway down the threads, and then I screwed it in, and the threads actually sucked down the crazy glue at the same time as leveling it out. Now, that should not break again for I don't know how many runs. It could be 50, could be 100, could be 300. I've never had to do this repair before. This was a first one for me on this, and I'm like, interesting. So it does make a good video at the same time showing you how to get at that, and a quick little fix, especially if you didn't have spare parts, because you don't think of those things being, you know, where they are and what they're doing as something that's going to, you know, wear out too easily. And it doesn't wear out too easily, obviously, but that one screw actually stripped itself on the threads, so at least it could be repaired for not even a tenth of a penny worth of crazy glue, which is an awesome cheap repair. So now I have wised up to this thing that it has a possible issue coming again down the road. So what I will do is when I put in my next parts order, guess what I'm going to be ordering? Steering link parts for there. Because I know if it happened once, eventually my repair is going to let go someday and going to happen again. And I got 4 of these vehicles to feed, 2 buggies and 2 trucks so far. So having on-hand parts is a big bonus. So if you have one of these machines, you just found another area that down the road is going to be a weak link. So while you're at it, order screw kits. Because that's another thing I'm going to order too, is going to be the screw kits. And just because you don't use those parts right away doesn't mean you're not going to use them. You will eventually use them. Okay, as long as you're going to keep the toy anyway. But voila, we are back and running, functional, awesome. So hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned something. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. And if you want to call me a noob, then go ahead. I don't really care, because hey, it's a new repair for me, and so there also became an extremely fast, quick fix for it that will hold for a long time. So thanks for watching the video, and we'll catch you on the next one, guys.